Today I'm here to bring you some fantastic news on a very common yet severe chronic disease that affects around 10% of the world population, diabetes. Diabetes represents the seventh cause of death in the world, claiming the lives of more than 2 million people every single year. And unfortunately, that doesn't end there. Diabetes can cause heart complications, kidney failure, blindness, and may even require leg amputation. Among those suffering from diabetes, 40% has partial or complete blindness. But today I'm here to introduce you to Netra AI, an artificial intelligence solution that has prevented more than 3,000 patients across the world from going blind. So, if you're ready, lights out. We all have a relative or a friend who suffers from diabetes, and there's a reason for that. Around 10% of adults aged between 20 and 79 has it. To put this into perspective, 465 million people has diabetes, and what is more frightening is that half of them are undiagnosed. For a brief recap, diabetes is a chronic disease that occurs when we are no longer able to process food for use as energy. But what does this mean? Well, most of the food we consume is transformed into glucose or sugar, and our pancreas helps this glucose get to our cells by producing a hormone called insulin. However, when we have diabetes, our body does not produce enough insulin or simply cannot use it efficiently, and as a result, all that sugar accumulates in the blood. There are two types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes accounts for 10% of the cases. The risk factors are not as clear as type 2, but autoimmune, genetic, and environmental factors play a role in the development of this type. People who suffer from this type of diabetes produce very little to no insulin because their own immune system attacks the beta cells of the pancreas, which are responsible for insulin production. Now, type 2 diabetes is the most common one, which makes up for 90% of the cases. The risk factors for this type of diabetes are older age, obesity, family history of diabetes, physical inactivity, impaired glucose intolerance, and ethnicity. Type 2 diabetes is twofold. On the one hand, the diabetic individual produces little to no insulin, and on the other hand, the body cells do not respond to insulin itself. This is called insulin resistance. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, around 40% of diabetics suffer from blindness because of diabetic retinopathy, or DR for short. This means that around 186 million people has or will experience blindness. In short, diabetic retinopathy happens when there's damage to the blood vessels of the light-sensitive tissue at the back of the eye called retina. This is how a healthy retina looks like. And this is how a retina looks like when diabetic retinopathy sets in. For now, the only way to prevent diabetic retinopathy from turning into severe blindness are regular checks, and that is not always possible if the patient has mobility issues or if there's already a heavy burden on the hospitals, or in countries like India where there's a lack of trained retinal specialists, especially in rural areas. Now, what if I told you that there's a way to detect diabetic retinopathy at an early stage and with 98.5% accuracy? And what if I told you that the system can be operated by a single technician? Well, meet Netra AI, a solution developed by Lebancare, an artificial intelligence healthcare company specialized in the improvement of quality diagnosis, and Sankara Eye Foundation, an Indian non-profit organization committed to provide quality eye care to the most vulnerable groups of society. This artificial intelligence solution helps to reduce the burden on healthcare systems, increase how many patients can be looked after, provide a faster diagnosis, and a more accurate outcome. And this is really important because until now, a diagnosis depended on the operator's expertise, the type of equipment used that may have a specific bias, and the biggest pitfall, low quality images that can lead to an incorrect analysis. Netra AI is powered by Intel's deep learning boost and uses the Xeon scalable platform through Amazon's cloud instances, and consists of 17-layer convolutional neural networks to train the data. The following shows how Netra AI classifies the type of damage sustained to the retina. In blue, we can see the microaneurysms. Superficial and deep hemorrhages are in black and red, and hard exudates in yellow. For a condition where every 5 seconds someone goes blind, and 80% of all blindness is preventable, this definitely matters. Netra AI has screened more than 3,000 patients worldwide and can be used both online and standalone offline box. The results so far have shown an astonishing 99.7 sensitivity and 98.5 accuracy, making it suitable for an efficient screening tool. During an interview for AI News, Technology Director at Intel, Hema Chamraj, provided a lot of information and insight on the future of artificial intelligence in healthcare. I will leave the interview in the links below, but in the meantime, let me just summarize for you the 3 main takeaways on what Hema said. Now, Hema believes artificial intelligence is showing enormous potential to help prevent diabetic retinopathy. So much so that the FDA has already approved the first AI solution to tackle diabetic retinopathy, called IDX-DR, which allows for regular doctors to diagnose the condition without the need of interpreting the data or images. This will obviously help distribute the patients more evenly, reducing the load on the limited amount of specialists and the overall healthcare system. In terms of regulatory obstacles for AI adoption, Hema mentioned AI is still in its infancy, but has proven to be extremely efficient in the assigned tasks and keeps improving every single day. Now, according to Wright's Law, this will drive the costs down, making a real impact in the lives of the people who need it most. And last but not least, can you imagine the day when you will be able to take a picture with your own smartphone of your own eye and within minutes have an extremely accurate diagnosis notifying you whether you require specialized referral? Well, this is exactly where AI is headed to, reducing the amount of time, travels, and daily disruptions that this will save worldwide, since you will only require to go to a hospital if the AI identifies worsening in the patient's condition. Folks, diabetic retinopathy is the leading cause of new cases of blindness among adults, whereby millions of people are affected by it. But today I'm here to bring you a message of hope, where the rescuer may not be made of flesh and bones, but ones and zeros. See you soon in Cyberstruck.